today we are going to be discussing one of the most hot and contentious issue in our Kenya country right here, and that is the transition from academia to the labor market. And we have a market consultant with us. Karibu sana Felix to the Prayer Cave TV studios, that you may be able to break down this for us. I'm going to start by inviting you to say hi to our audience and also tell us about yourself, and then we get into this. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Hello, viewers. Thank you for hosting me today so that we may have a conversation on these very important issues. Uh, so it's my pleasure to be here to really discuss and look at this subject in a deeper way. I'll start with my introduction. I happen to wear three hats. I will start with the first one. In my professional background, I'm an engineer in the field of mechatronics. This journey started 2007. I started as a design engineer, then moved into business, and then moved into leadership. In my last year, I finished in Ethiopia as a general manager, still in this field of engineering. Then my second hat, I am a professional leadership coach. I realized when I was doing management and leadership in my profession, I had a privilege to sit with a number of cohorts, graduates, trainees, new career professionals in the workplace. I think I've interacted with around 300 people, especially the young people. And I began to pick there is a serious need. You could see there's a serious need. So this slowly kept pushing me to try to address this need. How can I help these people? So in that journey, I felt a need to do something. Number one, I wrote a book about graduate transition. Number two, I've been having a series of a lot of mentorship trainings in the workplace, in the universities, all over the place. The conversation has been the same. How can we help these young people try to understand the market and get an easier landing, because everyone is crying? So that journey has been quite exciting. And it has been my pleasure to walk the journey as a professional leadership coach. Then in my third hat, I love sharing the gospel of Christ Jesus. So just to give people hope, to tell them that the race is not for the swift, but time and chance is given to us all. So there is an opportunity for everybody to become that what God has purposed for them. So you cannot give up. You cannot say it is difficult. Yeah, so that is Felix. It's my pleasure to interact with you today. Thank you.
Amazing. Asante sana for honoring our invitation to come, especially to address this hot issue. I'm calling it hot because every year there are about 560,000
Yes.
graduates that are sent to the labor market from our universities, and employability is fairly low. Can you give us context to this kind of problem that we have?
Yes. We have two people here. On one hand, there's the employer. On the other hand, there's the employee. So when you listen to the employee, he's talking about employment. There's a serious cry globally that there's no employment. I'm listening from America to China, there's no employment. But now that voice is coming from the employee. When you take time to listen to what the employer is saying, he's talking about something different. He's saying these skills we're getting, these talents coming from the universities, they're not employable. So what is the real problem? We need to listen now to the what is the employer saying? What does he mean when he's saying the quality of people we're getting from the market, they're not employable? So now it takes us to a problem we call the employability problem. So that is what we are here to discuss. What is employability? Maybe we've been focusing on the wrong problem, employment. It's time now to take a step back and ask, what is the real problem? Is it employment? Is it employability? Of course, I will not be ignorant to say employment is not a problem. It's still an issue. It's still an issue. But it's time now to think about some different problem and see whether we can minimize this employment problem. Employability. That is what we want to go deep and try to understand.
Wow. Let's get started with this. As a market researcher, would you say there is a skills mismatch between industry expectations and graduate competencies?
Skills mismatch. Now, this is the reality we are facing. Unfortunately, when now you take the two people, they're talking different language. The employer has certain needs and expectations. You know, from where the employer is sitting is in the marketplace. In the marketplace, it's survival for the fittest. How does the employer survive in the marketplace? The employer, of course, is running an organization. This organization is surviving because of competition at the platform of quality, at the platform of time, and the platform of cost. Three major issues. For him to make it in the marketplace, he must deliver on time. He must deliver the best quality above the competition. And he must deliver the best price. So you see, there are constraints. If this guy plays around with those three constraints, he will be out of the marketplace. So how can he deliver? He needs the employee. And the employee must be packaged in such a manner he will deliver these three constraints. So when you look at the employee, when you listen to them, you over the years I've interacted with this employee. It's like they are asking you to train them to deliver this. So what were they doing in school? So in a recent study, there was a recent study by the World Economic Forum in partnership with PwC. When they released this study, they're saying 73% of all the CEOs interviewed expressed concerns with the skill set of the employee. 73%. That is how bad it is. Out of 100 people, they could only rely on 27. 73% are not fit for the employer. Now, those are the statistics. So if Eric, you were to sit me down here to interview me for a role in this studio, I will come and tell you I have a degree on mass communication. You tell me, okay, Felix, put it here. Thank you. That's good. Now let's talk. And you start asking me questions. And I know you'll focus on 7 key competencies. These 7 areas are like the bare minimum you want to pick from me. Top. The first one would be communication abilities. Can you demonstrate communication abilities? Why communication? Communication is both spoken and both written. So in my journey, I've discovered when you're dealing with graduates, even the written communication, they need to be trained. Email etiquette, writing proposals. When we talk about communication to persuade, when you're speaking, can you articulate yourself in a manner you can convince the customer? You can convince the suppliers. You can convince the government. You can convince all stakeholders who are running an organization. Communication is key. So I found that area quite wanting with our graduates. I'm not sure whether this is a skill they can pick from school or it needs self-training. Number two, you will be interested to know, do I have critical thinking abilities? I will tell you why. Because the market is quite a brutal place. This problem you're solving are quite complex. It needs critical thinking abilities. It is not a straight line. You know, students think it's a plug and play. You come and you start walking. It's not a straight line. It's you need to think. You know, when we say critical thinking, we normally talk about 6 questions. Can you answer the why? Can you address the what? Can you address the where? Can you address the when? And who and how? We call it 5W, 1H. Now, that is critical thinking. Everyone must be analytical, not to look at things at the face value. Going to the third one, we will ask, can you demonstrate abilities for accountability? Accountability is like very important in the marketplace. I give you expectations. Are you accountable to deliver? Accountability abilities. That was not taught in school. Number 4, we want to know whether can you demonstrate abilities to create relationships? I mean, in the marketplace, it's about relationship. You need the customer. You're working with people. You need a team of suppliers. Can you create relationships? Then the 5th one, we are talking about, can you develop people? Because you're going to rise into leadership. You keep rising. You need to replace yourself. The organization will be scaling up. Can you develop people apart from developing yourself? Then the 6th one, can you inspire? Can you inspire? If you can inspire people, you are now moving to the area of competence. Then the last one, which I consider very key, have you demonstrated abilities to drive change? Because the market is changing very fast. Can you adapt? Can you drive change? Are you that kind of a person? If you meet those 7 bare minimum, I call them competencies. So now we are no longer discussing your degree. We're no longer discussing your diploma certificate. We're no longer discussing your papers. We're looking what quality of a person. When we remove your education, can you communicate? Critical thinking, people development, relationship, inspiration, driving change, accountability. Can I pick that from you? If you're interviewing me, can you pick that from me? So when we are talking about mismatch of skills and expectation, really these are the soft things you are looking at. I normally don't call them soft skills. I know that name is popular. I call them the real skills. The real skills. Because when we bring you to the marketplace and we expose you to the market, these are the real skills which will be tested. Your success or failure will depend largely on those. I know for the interest of time, we will not mention this 11, but I could have said attitude, mindset. We will even ask, do you have professional certifications? Those are additional. Let's focus on the 7 bare minimum for us to say you're competent.
Would you say the 7 what is making the students that were not academic smart to surpass the academics smart students? We've seen scenarios of people that did not perform well in schools employing the A students.
You realize most of these, they are very excellent in communication. Talk about relationships, building relationships. Talk about them talking to the suppliers, in interaction with the customer. They seem to be scoring. It's true. It's a paradox. They seem to be doing much better in these soft areas. But now the thing is, we don't have a choice. You just have to build them. Everyone needs this. But apparently that is happening. That is happening a lot.
It's a reality.
It's a reality.
Going on to question number 2 here. What are some of the major causes of this developing challenge of skills and competency mismatch amongst our graduates?
It's a complex issue. How did we find ourselves here?
Okay.
You know, it has been a developing issue over so many years. If I step back in 1985, I was still young, but I have the history. In 1985 is when the country was transitioning from the education system that time. It was 7-4-2-3. They must have seen some gaps and they were attempting to see how better they can close the gaps. So 844 kicked in 1985. I think it was replaced just 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So that is an entire 35 years of 844. There's something happened in 1998. The industry began making noise. In 1998, I remember everyone start raising concern and start saying, we're not getting really what we're looking for from the university graduates, from the colleges. These people joining the market, there's something missing, there's something amiss. That concern began to become popular. So the push keep developing to a point where now the government took notice and they tried to ask what can be done. And I think that is what led to CBC, which means there is a problem. We are trying to look what is causing this problem, where is this problem coming, but we know there's a problem. So those are the attempts of the government to try to fix this problem. CBC, now we call it competence-based curriculum, just to try to see whether we can address this problem. But now I will look at this problem from the 3 dimensions. I will start with what I call demographics. Now, demographics has a hand in this. How? Demographics, we are talking about the change in the different generations. We started with the baby boomers. We came to 1985 to 1995. We have the Generation X. Then we have the millennials. I think I belong to that category from the 1980 to 95. Those are the millennials. After 95, we are talking now of Generation Z. When you look at these 4 people, in terms of their value systems, in terms of their beliefs, in terms of what they prefer, what is important to them, how they look at life in general, the level of resilience, the level of focus. We are finding difference in every generation. Apparently, every of this generation is different. Of course, every generation has positives, but also have the downside. So I've said this has been developing problem. Now, looking at demographics specifically, there's an abrupt shift by Gen Z. These are people who are born at a time where we are talking of freedoms. I need my space. You don't need to push me. I have my rights. This is what they're telling us. When I say you must work hard or you ship out, ship up, ship out. they have their rights. These people are come at a time where things are on the touch and go. You want warm food, microwave. You want coffee, instant coffee. We are now in that generation where they're used to, they're accustomed to shortcuts or quick solutions. But remember I said about critical thinking. Now it becomes a problem for this generation. They don't want to go the long way. They don't want to take the baby steps. They don't have time and patience for the staircase. Now, this definitely is a challenge. It is influencing the 7 key competencies I talked about. So demographic is one of the things working against them. apparently they have to do something about it. If they agree to be at the mercies of the generation attributes, then it's going to be difficult for some of the recent graduates. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be messy. They need quick money. They need to make it fast without cutting a sweat. That is what it refers demographics. They need to be fully aware. The second one is technological advancement. You know, every time technology is good, it's very good. But now when we over rely on technology, recently this year from March, we are talking about artificial intelligence. You want a solution, just go into the, don't think about it. You don't even need to reason. Go online, query the machine, package a proposal, throw it. I mean, you're not involved. If technology is abused, you will wake up one day and find, oh, I cannot even think. I've been over relying on technology. So we need to know the place of technology. We need to use technology to our advantage without compromising the quality of our being. You know, experts are saying technology cannot replace the human abilities. The human mind is superior, but it requires to be developed. It requires to be practiced. So when we over rely on technology, I see a complicated situation for these young ones. You know, my heart goes to them. I hope someone will see it and do something different. Listening to one of our politicians, this guy who left Kenya the other day, he's very brutal. He calls people zombies. So I said, let me Google. Let me Google. What is this word? I Googled yesterday. Zombie. Zombie means slow, tired, and clueless. Slow, tired. So this guy, when he's calling people zombie, there's something he's speaking. There's something he's saying. He's not insulting us. There's something this guy is saying. So it's important not to be slow, not to look like tired, not to look like clueless. But the reality is that is happening a lot. Then looking, of course, now on the third factor, I know we've talked about the educational system. This change, they're trying to look for to fix the problem by changing the educational system. So does it mean in these 35 years where we have consumed 844, we were consuming the wrong curriculum? Okay, let's accept we consumed it. So where are we? So how many people were produced by this curriculum?
Millions.
What are they supposed to do? So they did not get the benefit of these competencies. They missed out. So we can say they are on themselves. If I can give you the context, I am a beneficiary of 844. So when I landed into the workplace, it is true I was clueless. I mean, I did not understand what the employer is expecting of me. So I found myself in situations where it gets confused. So the time I got into leadership, still clueless, is where it hit me straight properly. That I have people I need to give direction. That I have problem to solve. That I have to make revenue for the organization. Otherwise, my job is at stake. If I lose my job, I have a family. It became so clear that there are competencies I must develop. So my journey has been a difficult one whereby I started educating myself. A lot of online courses every day, a lot of programs, spending a lot of money just to fill the void of competence. So by the time I get into a general manager, of course, by the grace of God, I've gathered a few of these competencies. I can communicate, I can develop people, accountability issues. So But I realized how many people are struggling like me on the same issues. That's why I got the passion and the burden to do something about it. It became very personal to me. When I was the other day I was in Ethiopia for three years. I went to Ethiopia alone, and I was supposed to develop a team of 130 people to walk with me the journey. Do you know, I found myself in a situation where I needed to take them for a physical classroom every Monday because, yeah, I hired people and soon realized I'm alone. I'm alone. And you cannot heavy lift from supply chain. You cannot heavy lift finance. You cannot heavy lift HR. You cannot do operations alone. There is safety to be managed. These are departments, they need competent people. But what kind of managers do you have? People who really are not where you think you can deliver results. You end up leaving a lot of revenue on the table. You end up exposing the company a lot in terms of leakages because of these competencies. So what are we supposed to do? I started developing them the hard way. So this is the reality in the market. This is the reality. Educational system, as we cannot say we blame it 100%. Demographic, we cannot blame it 100%, but it has a hand. Technological advancement, it has a hand in this. So these are the factors which causing us to be where we are. There might be others, of course, but I've picked these as the top ones, influencing how did we get where we are. Talking about skill mismatch, disconnect between the industry and what the quality of people we're getting.
Wow, and indeed, it's quite a heavy issue.
It is.
And from your assessment, for example, if on the education sector, on the education issue, how long do you think would take to fix the problem? For example, the change of curriculum, how long would it take for it to start transforming people into be ready for the job market?
In my own assessment, I'm looking at not less than 10 years to transform someone. You know, I had the benefit of hiring people from when they are green and transform them to some level where you'd say they are 70% competent. The people I have in mind took 7 years. For you to start feeling, you can stand on the gap, you can do something. Not perfect, you can do something. 7 good years.
7 years.
Competencies, competency is something you're going to practice. Competence is something you're going to train every day. You're going to experience difficult scenarios and start now reasoning. By the time you get there, we talk about not less than 7 years.
What will the employers do?
It's really hitting on them very hard. So a lot of and that's why you're seeing companies are struggling in our country because the employee has a big role to play, and if the employee is incompetent, what are we saying? Organizations are falling down left, right, and center. We are witnessing now the impact of employability at the marketplace. We are seeing this every day. We can even make this very basic. When you take a bus to Nairobi, what will be your experience on that journey? Does the driver have the customer experience at heart? Will you experience that ride? What will be your experience? I mean, it applies everywhere, not on the top, everywhere. Every organization, you need to think about the customer. You need to experience the customer. They need to have a good experience. So you have to work on yourself to offer that good experience.
Wow. Businesses are suffering. I'm going to give you a personal experience on what you just touched.
Yeah.
I walked into a shop, a printing shop, just the other day and sat at the reception and asked for this and this kind of assistance. And I met the receptionist on phone. They were talking to a friend of theirs. From the kind of words I could tell, it's a personal conversation.
Look at that.
It's a personal conversation. They were talking about someone they know commonly, what would call maybe in quotes gossip. So they just do the phone like this. So they attend to me, and then
They continue with, they consider that important. They consider that more important. They don't know you are the customer who is bringing the money so that they can make a living. They depend on you. We depend on the customer. Once we don't get this reality right, I mean, that's where it started hitting us.
So I'm feeling for the owner of the shop. First of all, they are not here. They don't know how their business is suffering in their absentia.
Yes.
At the same time, if this person was to lose their job and go somewhere else, would they be employable in any other institution?
That culture, of course, it's already bad culture. You know, some of these practices, we do them without realizing. But now what we are demonstrating to the employer is the bad culture. That I don't have the business culture. I don't have a professional culture. I don't have an entrepreneurial culture. There's a way business people behave. There's a way business people talk. There's a way business people value customer. You know, I remember this guy called Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. That guy, people say he was arrogant, he was brutal. I have a liking for Steve Jobs. He has a set of principles he was living by. One of them I picked so dearly. He says, I don't sell crap. Now, this is a man of excellence. This is a man of quality. Now, look at the way now that product has differentiated itself from the competition. Simply because he said, I do not sell crap.
They took out blackberries, which were the prime of the time.
They're ruling the market. Why? They focused on the customer. Actually, he says, start with the customer first and work backwards to the technology. Don't start with the technology. Go and listen to the customer. What will give them good experience? How can we deliver this experience? Then what technology can give us there? It's like saying students should start by understanding what is the customer needs. Instead of saying, I come to the market with these papers. No, you're coming to the market to do what? This perspective on the side of the student, number one, for us to help them, we need to let them know that the reason you're coming to the market is not to be employed. The reason you're coming to the market is to solve a certain problem. So you're not coming to look for employment. You're coming to give us a solution. You know, the team you have here, you have them here to solve problem, to make light your burden. Not just to dish out employment, you know. Employment is not the issue here. The issue is, are we solving? Do we have the capacity to solve the problem I have? Then I need you on board. I'm ready as an employer to pay someone to solve my problem, to lessen my burden, to make things move. I'm ready to pay anything. But do you have that competence I'm looking for? Now, that is the conversation.
That being the problem, let's now start getting into the solutions. How can young people avoid falling into the same pits?
Thank you, Eric. It's like asking, is there a cure to this problem? We've done the diagnosis. Do we have the medicine? Of course, that's why there's a solution to every problem. That's number one. Don't be quick to give up. There's a solution. Now, I will break this solution into 4 categories. The first one, I'll start with what I call A and C. A and C is awareness and clarity. Talking about awareness and clarity, there are two levels of awareness. Number one, you as a student, what do you know about this place we are calling the marketplace? What is your definition of the marketplace? What is your perspective when we talk about the marketplace? Because you will finish your education and come to the marketplace. You come to the industry. But what do you know about the industry in terms of awareness? Is there anything you know about it? So I want to define the marketplace. I want to give you a picture of the marketplace so that you start thinking, are you ready for that marketplace? This is the environment where you will be operating. The moment you finish your education, the rest of your life you'll be in the marketplace. So this is where you're coming. Do you understand that place you're coming? Experts have understood the market in a way, it's something we call VUCA. We say the marketplace is volatile. The marketplace is defined as uncertain. The marketplace is defined as complex. And finally, the A stands for ambiguous. That is the place you're coming to. A place which is volatile. Mm-hmm. Things are changing, things are dynamic, things are moving every day. Can you adapt to that speed? Can you adapt? The marketplace is that volatile. There's no guarantees in the marketplace. The marketplace is uncertain. Why is it uncertain? Because there are players, there are competitors. Everyone is fighting to survive. It's like you put in a lot of fish in a small pond. They are fighting for oxygen. Survival for the fittest. So because of that, there's competition in the marketplace. So the marketplace is uncertain. Today you're doing well, tomorrow someone is doing better than you, and you're out of business. That is the marketplace, uncertain. So what do you do when you're presented with such level of uncertainty? Things are not A to Z, straight line. No, between A to Z, we are going to beat around the bush. The way we get ourselves to Z is not clear. We might not get to Z a lot of the times. We don't get there because of the market is uncertain. The market, when we say it's complex, we've just said you're coming to the market to solve social problems, technical problems, economic problems. Problems. Actually, the only thing we don't have deficit of is problems in the marketplace. Now, the market, those problems are not what you see on the face value. They are deep-rooted issues which have deep roots. For you to remove them, it is complex. So you're coming to a place we call the marketplace, which is full of complex issues, complex people. Complexity is the nature of the marketplace. It's complex. So if you're not firm, if you're not strong, if you're not that kind of a person, then the marketplace will be brutal. I'm introducing the marketplace to you. This is the place. This is the real place. In Kenya, we say kwa ground.
Vitu ni tofauti.
That is what we mean. Things are different on the ground. Mm-hmm. You know, I was telling people at the university or at our learning institution, there's what I feel is controlled environment. Controlled environment. You don't get the realities of the marketplace at the learning institution. You're not exposed to this brutality of competition. It does not happen. So you may feel the world is a safe place. The world is easy as in the academic institution. No. That is a controlled environment. It might be deceiving. Then finally, we've said it is ambiguous. Ambiguous means you cannot tell whether A is the solution to B or B is the solution to A. It's never clear. It's ambiguous. When you come to join an organization, no one will tell you the steps is 1, 2, 3 in that order. There's a lot of ambiguity. It is you to discover and make some clarity of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, where you're going to start. That is now the perspective of the marketplace. Now, how does this knowledge help? When you know the animal you're going to fight is this powerful and it's this brutal, this is the way you prepare. So I find the knowledge of the marketplace will be an incentive to your preparation. Whether you're going now to spend those sleepless nights working on your self-competencies, whether you're going to spend money to educate yourself, because you know the marketplace is merciless. I would love to make it better, but this is the reality of the marketplace. When I say the marketplace, actually I refer to every organization. I've said also I teach the word of God. So I belong to a church. In church, we are looking for competent people. Otherwise, it gets very complicated when people are not pulling their weight. When Jesus was selecting the 12 disciples, he was looking for certain strengths, certain competencies. You've given me an example of the cyber. I've given the example of the driver on the bus. Everywhere, that is the marketplace. Everywhere, we will be tested. That is the reality of the marketplace. So you need to be aware. You need to have total clarity of the marketplace. So I'll move to the second one because of time. The second one is what I will call personal awareness. Do you know yourself? I mean, I've had to introduce people to themselves a lot of times. I've had to sit you down and tell you, okay, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, and this is what is working against you. You are at the mercies of your personality. You're not in control. You're not at the driver's seat of yourself. Because we are born with different personalities. When we don't realize, you find people saying, I get angry very first. No, you're giving into your dominant nature, which we call personality. Are you going to be at the mercy of your personality? No. The marketplace will not care because the customer is very sensitive. The customer is absolutely sensitive. They don't want to know that you're a slow learner. No, they don't want to know that. They don't want to know that you get angry when situations get complex. The customer does not care about that. So what are we saying? You must understand, who am I? What set of weaknesses, forget about the strengths, what set of weaknesses work against me? So who is fighting you? Yourself. Through not realizing that everybody possesses weaknesses and strength. The level to which we allow our weakness to speak on our behalf, that's how we mess ourselves. I've seen good people with good papers come to the marketplace. They score everything right, tick, tick, tick. They're good to work. But now, the moment they start working, they mess up everybody. They cannot create the relationship. They insult everyone in the room. They step on everybody's toes. What is working against them? Their personality. This person was excellent in terms of the area of training. This person was good. We considered this person very competent when we were hiring you. You had shown all the signs of competence. But now, when we start understanding the real you, when we give you a problem to solve and you have to stay overnight, now we can see the real you. What is your level of resilience? What is your level of emotional intelligence? What is your level of patience? These things are now tested. So I find a benefit in really looking inward to discover, who am I? Not so many people, I'll tell you, Eric, not so many people today can answer that question appropriately. Who am I?
Wow.
In terms of strengths and
Wow.
weaknesses, people don't know themselves. So I'm spending a lot of time to introduce people to themselves.
Wow.
So that is where you start when you are looking to address this problem. AC, awareness and clarity of the marketplace and of yourself. There are three others. There are three other interventions. Now that you have understood the marketplace, now you know yourself, and you're intentional to sit on the driver's seat of yourself. You're not at the mercies of your personality. It means you're going to put something we call controls. Self-controls. I am not strong in this, I start building this. I am not a timekeeper, I start building time management skills. I'm not a person who creates relationships, I start developing relationships.
Wow. Wow.
So moving to the next one is what I call investing in coaches and mentors. When you look in the Bible, we know Isaac was raised by Abraham. People who had Elisha, Elijah, Paul, Timothy, Jesus' disciples, people who had a mentor, people who had a coach. The coach, where the coach can see, you cannot see. However talented you are, there are things, there are very delicate matters you cannot see. So I encourage a lot of people not to be overconfident about themselves. As long as you've not been in the market for 10, 15 years, sit under a coach. The difference between a coach and a mentor is like your pastor. You meet on Sunday, he gives you direction. You go think about it. If you're intentional, you'll do it. A coach is your parent. Every day, how is your scorecard? Every day, the parent, how are you performing? I taught you this yesterday. Where are you? Where are we now? That is the coach. You need both. So that is also one way of making sure you don't fall into this trap. I love calling it a trap of mediocrity. I don't want to use hard words today. I'm passionate about the graduates. But they need to be careful. They need to be careful. So if you don't want to fall into that trap of being average, mediocre means average or below. We're looking for excellence. We're looking for excellence. We want you to become excellence. And you're going to realize there are jobs for excellent people. So sit under a coach.
And a mentor.
You'll find that it's cheaper. You know, we sometimes we say, if you think life is expensive, try ignorance. Don't go down that path. It's way too cheap
To sit under the
to
coach.
sit under a coach. It will take less time. It will be less costly, but you're going to secure your next 20 years.
Wow.
There'll be years of joy, years of understanding things, years of moving to the market with ease.
Amazing. Wow.
Now, the third one.
And we have 3 minutes on this one.
These things I told you, it requires 3 hours. The third one is embrace what we call the mindset of growth. Growth mindset. Growth mindset is defined as abilities are not inborn. Competencies can be developed. So embrace that perspective. competencies can be developed. It's called a growth mindset. And also embrace entrepreneurial mindset. You come into an area of entrepreneurship, your employer is an entrepreneur, start thinking like them. Become an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Wow. Quickly, what are the industry interventions?
Interventions. There's a lot of interventions from the government. We have seen them put CBC in place. Those are interventions. There's a lot of forums across the place. There's people who put in platforms. The private sector, people like myself, are beginning to put training platforms. I'm running one called OptiPro. OptiPro CBC, Competence Bootcamp, CBC, to train people, to reach out to this generation, to tell them this is how it can be done. You can transform yourself. You can become someone different. Don't be at the mercy of your generation. Don't be at the mercy of your personality. Don't be at the mercy of technology. You can become what you want through training.
Wow.
So you'll find those interventions. You'll find mentors all over the place. Connect yourself with something. And start working on yourself. Don't be a statistic the same among everyone saying no employment, life is difficult. We can change this narrative.
And such kind of words.
Yeah, we can change this.
Quickly talk to us about your company and what you do for the industry and also for the businesses, and also give us your contacts.
Thank you so much. When we realized this need is bigger than we thought, we moved now fully into consultancy, and we formed this vehicle called OptiPro Limited. OptiPro is a group of 4 professionals, all of them over 15 years of serious experience in the industry, coming to solve 2 problems: the problem of the organization and the problem of the employee. To train and build capacities around the employee, and not look at the processes of the organization to support the founder to put in place best practices. This is what our company is doing. If you want to reach us, our number is 0720 327978.
Again.
You can reach me or anyone in my team when you WhatsApp, when you call 0720 327978. You will get us. When you go on LinkedIn, you will find us, Felix Nzuki, OptiPro. When you go on the website, optiprolimited.com, you will find us.
Wow.
Come, let us interact. Come, let us solve this problem. I'm sure we can solve it together.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Even to know that these solutions exist, because wow, isn't that a big problem that we have in our nation currently?
It's the elephant in the room.
It's the elephant in the room. Yes. Thank you so much for coming. Our special appreciation goes to God. We thank God for the gift of life and for the ability even to be here where we are right now. One thing I appreciate about God is the various kind of gifts He has placed in various kinds of men, and the kind of grace He has poured into you, Felix, this morning. Tunashukuru Mungu, tunasema ni asante. Special appreciation also goes to Bishop Dr. Thomas Mothe and Reverend Felix Mothe. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. Tunashukuru. Tunasema ni asanti. I want to thank the people producing the Uchao Don Break Show. We have Peter Maora, Elvis Sifuna, and Doreen Mwende. Mungu awabariki sana. Together with the entire Prayer Cave TV staff, your labors in the Lord are not in vain.